Hey there, it's Nathalie, and I've got this little canvas tote that I got, and I spritzed it with just a little bit of water. And this is going to be the background for an artist bag. And so I've got some just apple barrel paints and a little bit of water to thin down, and I am going to splatter because it's going to be an artist bag. And let me get just a little bit more water on here. And my little brush that I'm using is just a little round brush, and I know because I've used it before and it makes good splatters. You could use a toothbrush if you wanted to. And the reason I spritzed the background first is so I want some of these dots to kind of disperse and fade out on the edges, and some of them are going to stand up and be like really pretty. Now I'm not going to put too much of this pink on here because I want to add a couple of more colors. So wipe that out of my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and this is Tropic Orange. I don't need a whole lot. I got too much of the pink out. I'll have to figure out something else to do with that extra paint, which is probably not going to be a problem. And my fan is going in the background. I'm painting some silk streamers, and need to get those in the mail today sometime, but they're the silk is drying, so if you hear a little bit of a roar, that's what that's about. I'm going to turn this so all my splatters don't go the same direction. That's going to get me. So I've got some mushy colors, and I've got some colors that are a little bit more solid that are kind of over here on the edges. It's kind of mushy in the middle. I'm going to put a stencil on the top of this, and I'm going to get my stencils ready and let this dry a little bit, and I will be back. And I've got two Donna Downey stencils. One is paint brushes, which you can't hardly see this. Let me see. There we go. There's paint brushes, and this, it says I am an artist. And so I'm going to tape this down. And my splatters are in kind of pastel colors, bright pastels, but I'm going to do this in red. I could do it in black, but I think that might be a little harsh, and I may change my mind because, you know, you can do that. So I'm going to tape this down so it's not going to move on me, and also to keep me, I've got a wide edge over here, and these edges are kind of narrow top and bottom, and so maybe this will keep me from getting red smudge on my tote. All right, so I'm just going to use some red, and I've got a sponge that I'm going to use, the little sponge dauber. My stuff around here. Squeeze out a little bit of red, and I don't want to get this too heavy. I've got a paper towel just in case. I'm going to touch into my paint and kind of smear it around a little bit, kind of work it into that sponge. Make sure it's not too heavy here. I'm going to start off in this blank area that doesn't have a stencil cut, and just kind of softly, and then I need to watch because that N on there, it wants to fold back, that little middle part. So kind of push up on that, circle around. These little shapes are much smaller. It says I paint with my fingers. Let me kind of scooch down so you can get a little bit closer view here. Let's see if I make sure I stay in the frame. I paint with my fingers, and texture makes me happy. And I love drippage. Love that drippy paint. And then I'll read the rest of it as I get down. I'll be able to concentrate here for a minute. Paint, talk at the same time. I can do that. All right, and It says building layers tells my story. I experience color. Have you ever had color make you happy or make you sad? Make you feel a certain way? They do that, you know. There's another little end piece right there. I make mistakes beautiful. So one of the things that I tell my students is if you make a mistake one place, then if you'll, this is in art, not life. If you'll repeat that mistake, then it'll look like you intended to do that. In life, if you make a mistake, heavenly days, don't repeat it. I see what others cannot. That's one of the things I love to do with my art students is have them look at things with the eyes of an artist. What do you see? What are the shapes you see? What are the colors you see? How does one thing relate to another? Is it light? Is it dark? Look at that shadow. What color is that shadow? All right, let's see how this is looking. I'm going to just kind of give a little, let's see, I can see that needs a little bit right there. And let's give a little peek. I want to redo this. Oh, I see what's the matter here. Let me hold that a little bit. And I want to make sure that that M can show. So I'm just moving the little middle back in place. And I did get out of frame for a little bit. I think this is going to work. So now what I'm going to do, I want to add a couple of these paint brushes. And so I'm going to take my tape off. And I'm not going to put all of those paint brushes on here. I'm just going to pick out a couple of them. And let's see where I want to put them. Do I want to put it there? I think I'll put it there. All right, so now there are several brushes here, but I'm not going to use all of those. So what I'm going to do, and what I'm thinking is I'm going to run this where I can run maybe a drip of color or maybe just to do another paintbrush. This stencil has several brushes on it, but I'm not going to do all of those brushes. I think I want to do this big brush, and so I've used some of my painter's tape, and I'm going to block off the shapes that are around that. And so I'm going to put it up here, and where the bristles are, the handle is almost even, but the bristles are going to be off. And then I want to tape that down just to hold it in place. Now, the question is, do I want to use red paint for that, or do I want to use one of these other colors? And I'm thinking I'm going to use one of the other colors, like turquoise or something like that. Okay, and so this is the metal part of the brush right here, and then the handle. So I think I'm going to do the handle in black, and then this part in maybe a yellowy gold color or a gray, and then this in my color. So I think I want to do that in turquoise. And I'm going to get another brush to do that with. Another little sponge. Mush that all in. And I probably should tape that across, but I think I'm just going to kind of be careful with this. Touch, touch, touch. I don't want to do too much circle stuff because there's a lot of little tiny shapes in this. All right, let's see how this looks. Okay, there's me a paintbrush there. I think I'll do another one across the bottom, a different one, and I want to be careful with this when I pull this tape back off that I don't pull any of those little shapes out. And I really kind of like this skinny one here because it looks more like the watercolor brushes that I use. So I think that's the one I'm going to use there. So we'll block this off. All right, let's see how this looks. Let me back up a little bit. I think that's pretty cute. I might come back later and put a brush here and a brush here, but for right now, I'm going to call that good. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.